What? Nigga. No boyfriend, 4 for 1 to the project. Lying young and street, made the pussy bring the black bitch. Standing in the kitchen, whipping nigga, catch your contact. Shot a front around the middle, plug, ayy. Ran up on my dog, don't catch a slug, ayy. Love my pistol, dog, and fit just like a glove. I ain't come up out the truck, they no fool me was selling drugs. Dope boyfriend, just like Juice James 3-6. Lying young and screens, I been turned up with the demons. Ayy, Trapper gave a son to believe in. I been on my grind, them hating niggas hate to see him. Ayy, shout to say she falling for a trapper, ayy. Try to rob and on my dog and get a clapper, ayy. We the ones that really make it happen. When my pistol by my belt up, they ask about it, it's fashion, ayy. Yeah, you really get money.
All right, guys, I want to welcome you to today's live stream. I'm doing it a little bit earlier than normal. I have been contacted by Fox News. I'm going to be going on at about 3:45 today, doing an interview with them about some of the issues that are going on here in Portland. So looking forward to that. But I wanted to make sure that I came on and talk to you guys today. We're going to be having a great stream. I've got some great information for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the security guard survival guide. Okay, 5 tips that you need to know to be successful in the career of security going into 2024 and well beyond. Now, everybody understands all of the sexy shit that comes along with being successful in security. Your training, your ability to handle and manipulate your firearm, your medical training, all of the cool tactical stuff that comes along with our industry that a lot of us, if we're being honest, me included, a lot of us, we gravitate towards that, right? But one of the things that I see working in this industry is that the vast majority of officers, the vast majority of guards, what they're missing in terms of being successful, being hireable, being able to maintain their own company, make 6 figures, it all comes down to these small little details that most of us do not want to be trained in. Yes, the nuance of working in public, the nuance of working in a corporate environment, all of that needs to be trained because a lot of it is not something that you would think about. Now, you can say to yourself, listen, being professional, showing up on time, doing your job, wearing certain clothing or dressing a certain way, all of that is common sense. But the phrase common sense isn't common is not a common phrase because everyone has common sense. I think I'm the first person to ever say that. That was actually very, very profound. So today I want to talk about those 5 things that if you are working in the security industry and you want to be successful, whatever successful is to you, these are the things that are going to set you apart from everybody else. So let's get right into it. Number 5 is going to be cultural sensitivity. Everybody take a deep breath. I know most of you are absolutely fed up and tired with hearing things like cultural sensitivity, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I get it. I understand 110% where you're coming from. This is what I would tell you. Get used to it. Because if you're not aware of the importance of cultural sensitivity and how that plays into the corporate structure, you are not going to be hireable. And on top of that, you might find yourself in a very poor situation. This is something that is not going away, specifically with everything that is going on right now, not just in this country, but throughout the world in general. The issue of cultural sensitivity and understanding different people from different backgrounds, how that relates to their position in the workforce, how that relates to how you interact with these people as customers or subjects or co-workers. It is something that you cannot ignore, guys. You have to understand the importance of being able to work with, work alongside, and deal with people from different cultures. That's a lot easier said than done because there are so many things that are cultural that we don't necessarily think about. I have a great example. There is a guy that comes into one of our locations and he's Nigerian. Now, if you know anything about the Nigerian culture, they are a very, I don't want to say macho, but a very patriarchal group of people, right? You see this in Armenians, you see this in some Latin cultures, but the hierarchy, and I know that sounds rude to say, but the hierarchy of where the man is positioned in society is a lot different than our Western culture here in America. Good, bad, indifferent. That's just the reality. Now, I know this because I'm friends with some Nigerians. I've worked alongside Nigerians. I've lived next to Nigerians. I've seen how they interact with their families, the importance of the masculine nature, the patriarchy. But getting back to this story, there's a specific customer that comes into one of our locations. He's a Nigerian man. He speaks very loudly, very boldly. He's very animated. And to the people here in Portland, that is something that is extremely unnerving and extremely scary to a lot of people because men in Portland, for the most part, don't carry themselves like that. So when he is trying to do business at the customer service desk, the way that he talks, the way that he flails his arms around, right? The way that he interacts with female employees, it puts people kind of on guard. And so you'll see people that will call and be like, hey, we need security over here for this guy. And he's not necessarily doing anything wrong. He's just trying to send money back to his family in Nigeria. But the way that he carries himself, the way that he talks, the way that he expresses himself, it's so different than what people are used to seeing. We had another person that was from Russia that was at the customer service desk. Again, he's trying to send money overseas. And right now, with everything that's going on, in the world, there's some issues with like Western Union and being able to send money overseas. And so the way that the person was trying to explain to this guy that there was some sort of block or hold up in terms of transferring that money, he was being a little flippant. And he's talking to a Russian man. This guy, he wasn't for the bullshit. He wasn't for the disrespect because in his culture where he's from, that's just something that you don't do. The way that they were talking to him, the way that they were coming off to him in terms of what he was dealing with in that moment, it was very disrespectful. And his approach to disrespect was a lot different than the passive aggressive nature of people in Portland. I say all that to say that when we made the approach, understanding that cultural difference, oh, this is a Russian guy. Oh, this is a Nigerian guy. And then being able to talk to them from that understanding, that position of understanding where they're coming from culturally, right? We were able to talk these people down without having any situation that went left or sideways. That's where understanding that is so important. And think about that. Think about that. A situation where it could go left, it could get out of hand, it could become violent, but you as an officer being able to say to that person that's in charge, that manager of that location, hey, look, this guy's Nigerian. This is where he's coming from. Let me step in and talk to him for a second. That goes a hell of a long way, guys. And that cultural sensitivity can be applied to anything. It can be applied to dealing with LGBTQ. It can be applied to dealing with people, from different areas of the country, all of that. So very important to understand the importance of cultural sensitivity. Let's go number 4. Number 4 is emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? That is being able to function without freaking the fuck out. This is a big issue that I see a lot in the security industry, right? People that are just overly aggressive, people that are easily triggered, officers that are looking for a fight. Case in point, I got to drink my coffee. I don't think I'm ever in a situation where I don't have coffee like within hand's reach. Case in point, I put up a post in the community section the other day. And I said, if you had a situation where things got aggressive, things got heated, and you were to walk the person outside of the location and get them into the parking lot, and your job is specifically to only monitor issues and respond to issues that are happening inside of the store, and that person were to threaten you and say, you know what, I'm going to my fucking car and I'm getting my shit. I'm going to grab my Glock. I'm going to be out there waiting for you. I said, how long would you wait before going back to the parking lot? A lot of people said, listen, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Is that emotional intelligence? Someone has made a threat and they've said they're going to be waiting for you in the parking lot. A lot of officers can't wait to put themselves in a situation to go out into that parking lot for what? To make that person prove to them that they are that fucking guy, that they're built like that, right? The whole fuck around and find out mentality. And this is where so many officers find themselves in situations where they're having to utilize their firearm or they're having to get into a physical altercation that didn't have to happen. Now, some of you are saying, well, if that person goes out to their car and they get their firearm, what keeps them from coming back into the store? My answer to that is you are way more justified dealing with that person if they come back into the location as opposed to you going out into the parking lot to see if they're about that life the way that they said they were. That to me is the breakdown of emotional intelligence that a lot of security guards across the board continue to display, and your ability to articulate why you're staying in the store and why you're going to respond if they were to come back into that store under the circumstances that they laid out. Your ability to articulate that makes you so much more hireable in the long run. Not only that, it leaves you in a position where you're less likely to do something that unjustly puts you in a situation where you have to answer for that legally. Let's go to number three. Number three is simply adaptability. What is adaptability? Adaptability is being able to understand that as a security officer, things change. When do they change? All the time. How do they change? At the drop of a dime. To what degree do they change? Every degree. As a security guard, things are going to always be in flux. Your schedule, your location, the contract, your ability to carry a firearm, not carry a firearm, your ability to go hands on, to not go hands on, your ability to, anything and everything that you can think of. It changes, and it changes in a lot of ways. It's a great thing that things change because, like I said in the video before, working for a law enforcement agency, there's so much bureaucracy and so much politics to the point that when things need to change, when things need to evolve, when things need to be approached from a different position, a lot of times it can't be because there's so many strings tied up, right? But private security being client centered, it can change at a moment's notice, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. But as officers, your ability to be hireable, your ability to maintain that position within your company, your ability to be requested, it comes down to your potential and ability to adapt to changes. And we have to adapt all of the time, guys. We have to adapt to problems that are happening at our location. We have to adapt to the lack of information coming in or going out. Most of you understand that as a security guard, you're given your post orders, you're sent to your location, but a lot of times those post orders don't line up with what it is that you're being asked to accomplish or do at that location. So your ability to adapt and overcome and be able to still provide that service is so important. Let's get to number two. Number two is technology utilization. This is a big problem that I see with older guards. Now, if you've been in the industry long enough, you remember getting to your location, maybe utilizing a punch card, utilizing a sign-in log, having all of your information written and placed in a binder. That's simply not the case moving into 2023, 2024, and beyond. Everything is being done on our cell phones. I hear a lot of former police officers, a lot of older security guards that say the phrase, I don't utilize X. I don't utilize cell phone technology. I don't get on the computer. I don't write my reports on an iPad. I don't. The reality is that is the way that things are going. Your daily reports going to be submitted online. Your check-ins going to be done via your phone. People specifically, one of the issues that I've seen lately is that a lot of people do not want to have their location on their phone. I don't want to have my location tracking on. I don't want to be monitored by my phone. However, if you're working for specific companies that are utilizing clock in technology on your cell phone, you have to maintain your location setting on so that they can track that you're in that location, that you're where you're supposed to be, that you're moving where you're supposed to move. Some companies that I've worked for, they even use the technology where you scan certain tags to make sure that you're checking certain locations at certain times. All of that, that's technology. And you hear people all the time say, I don't buy into that. I don't agree with that. I don't want to do that. But that is the way that our industry is moving. I would say that moving into 2024 and beyond, we will only see the utilization of technology increase. It's never going to decrease. It's never going back. So being able to utilize technology, regardless of how you feel about it personally, regardless of your outlook on being tracked, being monitored, all of those things, irrelevant. That is the way that things are going moving forward. Number one, and quite possibly the most important thing that you need to know in order to survive as a security officer and thrive moving forward, is going to be legal knowledge. It is not okay any longer to not know, not understand, and not be aware of. You guys have to be very cognizant of the fact that as a security officer, your ignorance of the law will not save you, because you are expected as a security officer to understand your limitations, to understand the scope of your work, and how any of your actions can ultimately be used against you. It is so important for security officers to dig into the law. One thing that I would tell you guys, if I could give you any advice, whatever jurisdiction you generally work in, for me, that's the metropolitan area of Portland, you can probably find a downloadable version of the ordinances, laws, and information for your area for the police department. Our police department utilizes this little green book, and it has all of our ordinances, laws, everything, even some of the police policies. Reading that and diving into that has been so helpful for me, because little things that I wasn't aware of, little things that I wasn't understanding in terms of how there's a gap between security and some of the policies or procedures of the police department, and how I didn't understand that maybe I was walking a fine line, right? Reading that information on the standards, on the ordinances, it was very, very helpful. And all of you, regardless of where you're located, you can find that book. If there are law enforcement stores that outfit your local police department or sheriff's department, they will sell those. This is going to have all of the laws in it. You can again probably find many of those online, and there's more than likely downloadable versions that you can bring down to your phone. Understanding the scope of your work and how that lines up with the laws of your area is so, so important. Areas where security guards tend to find themselves in the most trouble: illegal detainment, illegal search and seizure, and kidnapping. And I know a lot of you are going, wait, kidnapping? Yes, kidnapping. If you stop someone and you impede their movement, specifically if you were to handcuff them or detain them and then move them from one location to another against their will, that is technically kidnapping. And a lot of security guards find themselves having to answer for this in a court of law. So, understanding the scope of your work and the ability of things that you can do and can't do based on the law, very, very, very important. So, those are my 5 points. Let's go over them real quick. Number 5, cultural sensitivity. Number 4, emotional intelligence. Number 3, adaptability. Number 2, the utilization of technology. And number 1 is going to be legal knowledge. I have 2 comments that are over here in the comment section. Let me pull them up real quick. Just got a couple of hellos here. My man Jack Spade Production said, "What's up, man? Hey, brother, how are you? Always glad to have you here." We've got Toya G. Toya, how are you? Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. And Roy French. Yep, something like TrackLink. I think that you're talking about the tracking technology that would be on your phone for clocking in and clocking out purposes. So, guys, listen, great information. Please, once this is uploaded, go into your comment section, place the comments down into the actual replay of this so people can see the dialogue. If you have any information, any thoughts or concerns moving into 2024 and how you think those play into this survival guide, please add them to the comment section. I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate you guys being here. And as always, I want you to know how much I thank you for being a part of this platform and this movement. As always, I want you guys to watch your back. I want you to be safe and I want you to be great. Okay? All right. You guys be great. Take care.